Hi everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Liz Gobble, and I'm the 7th grade administrator as well as the SNA in our building, the Special Needs Administrator. So typically during a faculty meeting, I get to tell you about various duties that I hold throughout the school, like organizing clubs, the 7th grade field trip, but those two items are no longer exist. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that I do still oversee at the school. And if you ever have any questions about them, please feel free to contact me. My main role, as I said, is as SNA. So that means I'm over our EC department, which includes our self-contained classrooms led by Ms. Pellerino and Ms. Johnson. I'm over our inclusion classrooms, and our two inclusion teachers this year are Mrs. Dillard and Mrs. Carter. Mrs. Dillard is going to be responsible for the inclusion classes in 8th grade. Mrs. Carter will be in 7th grade, and they're going to split 6th grade. So Ms. Dillard will have the 6th grade math class, and Ms. Carter will have the 6th grade English class. This year, Ms. Fish will be our sole resource teacher, as she'll have resource English and math classes in all 3 grade levels this year. The biggest thing about SNA that I want to relay to you is that during the first week before we get started, the case managers will provide you a list of accommodations that all students with an IEP have. By law, we have to follow those accommodations. So I just want to make sure that everybody is clear that if a child has read aloud, we need to make every effort to ensure that they are using those accommodations. We have to make them available for them. The one thing, though, that's a little different this year is that at least in this first semester, the separate setting can be held in your classroom because the IEPs state that the students must test in a classroom of 15 or less. All classes are going to be 12 or less. So you do not necessarily have to send them out to the separate setting classroom. One exception might be if you have a student with one-on-one. So you'll work with the case manager, Ms. Dillard or Ms. Carter, to determine where your student is going to go there. But if you have any questions whatsoever about your students with IEPs, please reach out to the case manager and or myself. Now, this does not cover 504s. Mr. West and the counselors are over 504s, but if you have any students with an IEP, please feel free to reach out. One thing that I do want to bring to your attention is that the county is introducing tiers as far as when students come back, and we're talking EC students. So if you see that Ms. Pellerino and Ms. Johnson's classes have students there all 4 days of the week starting out with, that's because they're in Tier 1. And Tier 1 allows those students as well as visually impaired students to attend school 4 days a week. So if you have any VI students on your caseload, then be prepared that they will be there for 4 days a week. We are looking at Tier 2 for students like Ms. Fish's resource students and the other EC students to potentially start attending 4 days a week after Labor Day. Right now, we don't have the green light on that, and if and when we do, just based on how things are going in the state of the world, then we will reach out to you and let you know if we've made those changes. MTSS is something that I'm not over. Thankfully, Eric Greaser has been wonderful enough to agree to lead that again this year, but it is a part of the IEP process. It's something where used to be that parents could just say, I want to have the child tested, and then we have them tested. But now they have to go through the MTSS process where we have interventions, and it all goes through this team led by Mr. Greaser. So if you do have some students that you're considering putting through the MTSS process, please reach out to either Mr. Greaser or myself, and we can make sure that that student gets started on the right track. So in the past, I mentioned that I was over clubs. We're not doing clubs again this year. We are replacing it with something called Wildcat Wednesdays. And this is an effort, well, really a twofold effort, to give you a time to take care of some duties that we might ask you to do, such as in the past signing up for clubs, which would take up some of your homeroom time and it might bleed in a little bit to first block. The Wildcat Wednesday period will be designed for times like those. It'll also be designed for SEL for our students, because as you and I very well know, we're in a time where students are having a rough time. Teachers are having a rough time. And so we have to be cognizant of the fact that we have to meet those social and emotional learning needs. And we're going to do this through our Wildcat Wednesday. So the counselors will be forthcoming with more information about that. But I did just want to go ahead and put it out there that in lieu of clubs this year, we are transitioning over to a Wildcat Wednesday format. The next thing that I have been over this summer is scheduling. So this has been a brand new and quite informative endeavor that I've taken on just to help out a little bit. And while we are so thankful that Mrs. Haas will return at the end of August, we know that there are going to be some changes, especially as we start the school year. So if you do see some changes or you hear from some students, I'm the person to reach out to initially about those until Ms. Haas returns. So please don't hesitate to just give me a call or send me an email. So I want to welcome everybody back. I know this is definitely a crazy time to come back, but together we're going to make this a wonderful year. And if you need me for anything, whether you're on my 7th grade team or another grade level, please feel free to reach out. I want to welcome you back and hope you have a wonderful start to your year. Take care.